AM600 WSNL, the latest from Manifest. It's called Overboard. Right here, WSNL is rocking Saturday night. I'm Brian, and here in the studio with half of Sweet Crystal.
Good half.
The good half, yes.
The better half.
The guys that have been around for 40 years in the same band.
And we still like each other.
Right,
That's what's
right.
nice.
And you guys remind me of a little bit of a Christian band called David and the Giants.
Oh, yeah.
You remember them?
Yes.
Some guys started off in the 70s, I believe, and like you guys, they released. You had a single or something. Or you released some singles back in the day.
Yeah, the vinyl back when vinyl was first invented.
There was a. there was a. I know you got a YouTube video. The one guy has a YouTube video of it. What's it called?
Oh, Warlords.
Warlords.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Somebody had that and took it off and put it up there, and it just amazed me.
Yeah,
that somebody would
that was,
actually have that.
And I was listening to that. I was like, wow, yeah. That's cool.
Now that's funny. One of the band that's opening this bridge show, super heavy Black Dirt.
Right.
One of their guys messaged me on Facebook and said that my keyboard playing on Warlords, which he found on YouTube, reminded him of a guy named Vincent Crane. Vincent Crane was the keyboard player for Atomic Rooster.
Oh yeah, okay, I've heard of the band.
Yeah,
big fans of
but the
Atomic
fact
Rooster.
that this guy said Vincent Crane, and I actually wrote him back and said that's pretty funny because we actually started out Sweet Crystal doing Atomic Rooster tunes before probably anybody knew who they were.
Yeah.
And the guy said he actually wore it out as a teenager. His older brother turned him on to it, and he said he loved their stuff. And the fact that you could hear an influence of such an esoteric band in something that we put out when we were first starting out was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Small world.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, with the band David and the Giants, that's kind of how they started out. They released a couple. I think they actually had a song that reached on a Hot 100 or something.
Nice.
And I forgot what the name of it was, but then they became a Christian band. The guys all got saved, and the rest is history for them guys. You guys kind of follow the same path a little bit.
Sure.
So
if we didn't start out as a Christian band, we started out with stars in our eyes and looking to be rock and roll stars. And for the first 6-7 years, I'd say we followed that path and played a lot. Played the club scene, opened up for a lot of bands like Bill was talking about earlier in the Flint area. We opened up for Nazareth and Foghat, and we did a show with Bob Seger, and just a wide variety of people. But eventually, when God
you
got
guys
hold
have
of
met
us,
a lot of people, a lot of the big bands back in the day.
I think so, and I don't think we've made any enemies.
Yeah.
So that's what kind of nice about that. But so eventually we did become a Christian band and continue to do what we're doing and had a lot of blessings of playing with some real good Christian acts. Like we said, Stryper, and back in the day there was a husband and wife team called Farrell and Farrell. We played with those guys. Jeff
They
Moore.
were keyboard heavy on there.
And Jeff Moore in the Distance, if you remember Jeff Moore. He's still around.
From Flint.
We used to do a lot of gigs with Head East. If you remember John Schlitt.
John Schlitt. Never been any reason. Wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Rare Earth.
And Rare Earth, yes.
Rare Earth was cool. I like them guys.
Yeah.
So,
Were they from Detroit?
Absolutely, yes.
Detroit Bear?
And they're still together. They'll be playing out at Freedom Hill with Brownsville Station next week. So it all just comes right back around.
We did a lot of shows with the Romantics too.
Yeah, that was another great band. The Rockets, they were from Detroit. I remember them guys.
We were very good friends with the guys in Rockets. Dave Gilbert, the lead singer, who was unfortunately passed away. We knew him quite well. So, a lot of history there. So Amy didn't call in.
For Amy,
It's 7 minutes after 9. Amy is at a marriage retreat, so maybe it's going well. So maybe she won't be calling in.
That's true.
That could very well be it. But we were hoping that she called. Amy Susan Hurd has just started singing with Sweet Crystal about the last maybe 2 months.
Yeah.
You can find her on Facebook or amyhurd.com. But she has started working with us primarily on a song called "Some People May Ask," which has quite a history to it. Very compelling story. If sometime we'll talk about it maybe at the gig. But we've done a couple versions of the song. The acoustic lighter version, which is the one that's
I have
the one that you haven't got released a little while ago, and we are finishing up the mixing, mastering, recording of the rock version of the Sweet Crystal. So we've taken a song that we wrote and have crystallized it, turned it into a Sweet Crystal song.
Yeah,
so it's kind of funny.
The funny thing was I was, looking, because I get email updates about new singles all the time, whether it be the lighter contemporary worship style stuff, and the rock stuff, of course. And and I got the email to go to the site. I think it was A Sides Promotions or whatever it was, And I got in there and I was like, Sweet Crystal. I wonder if that's the same group, And sure enough, I looked it up, Yeah, that's got to be them guys, And,
but because
so that's how I found out
but it's
about
all
it. So.
Amy singing it, so as soon as you hear Sweet Crystal and then you hear nothing but a female vocal on that particular version of it, it's like, somebody else has become Sweet Crystal.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought initially, and that's why I got a hold of you and said, hey, man, there's some band named Sweet Crystal on there. You might want to listen to them.
Well, and that's why we also put featuring AM600 because we didn't want anybody to think it was Bill's voice that you were now listening to after all these years.
Bill's voice.
Yeah.
So hopefully she'll call in and do that. But she will be with us at the show
at
over
the
the bridge.
Right.
24th, and it's 2 weeks from tonight, which is interesting. All of a sudden it's here. We've been
I
looking at it for a
know, it's
while.
like
and
came
all of a
upon us
sudden
quickly.
It's right here. But looking forward to sharing the stage with Grave Robber and Super Heavy Black Dirt. I wanna get the
mouthful.
It is. I want to get the words in the right order so that we're giving them justice. But yeah, all three bands playing out at the bridge, and the venue is looking very, very cool. And it's been a long time since we've been in the Flint area. So hopefully there will be some people that recall who we are. If not, then hopefully we'll make new fans and friends this time around.
Yeah. Well, I think you'll like that out there. You already seen it, so you've already heard.
The people running it.
My recollection of it from a couple years back, it was great in there. Nice sound.
Well, you're coming along as MC for the show, so we'll look and see if your name's carved in the walls anywhere in there from your more rowdy days.
Well, I remember I was standing next to Bud, I think.
Okay.
When he brought me into that show, I was back there by the sound booth, and I think Darren and somebody else was running the board that night too. And
Darren's got a son that I think named Keith. I think that also works with him. Doing sound, so it might have been him.
Yeah. And he goes, well, how's the sound? I said, dude, you gotta pinch me because just doesn't even sound like any Christian concert I've been to or Christian venue because it was so good. I felt everything from what was coming from the stage, kick drum, the bass, the guitar, everything.
And there's no reason not to.
Really, really good.
Yeah, and there's no reason not to. Gone are the days back in the early 80s and stuff when Christian music was trying to make a name for itself. Yeah. And it just came out of garages. And even though the song writing and performances were good, the recording techniques were not as good. And everything, it just sounded like a second-class citizen. And now, because Christian music has gone so mainstream, there's no reason that venues that allow Christian bands to play can't sound as good as, I hate to say it, regular rock bars.
Right.
So the fact that the bridge exists and other places like that, I mean, that's stellar. That's exactly what we want to do because you shouldn't be handing out second-rate anything to people if you're putting out a first-rate message. You want them to not lose the scope of the words just because of the technology is letting it down.
Yes, that's true. So true. Yeah, and because it was like you could hear everything and you didn't have to shout.
Nice.
I know what you mean. It was like that. It was, it's like having normal a little bit higher volume, but the sound was just.
And as long as you can hear the vocals,
great.
That's the main thing about Christian music, and that is a big difference when we play some of the clubs we play at, because we use sequencing and that kind of stuff. We send a very manageable feed to the house engineer, so he doesn't have to fight with what we're playing in order to get our words above. And so it's been pointed out to me time and again by both my wife and people that come out, you can always hear the lyrics of what we're singing about versus some of the other bands that play after or before us in these mixed venues. So that to me is a blessing, and that's got to be the spirit doing that, because there's no reason we would sound any more intelligible than other bands, but we always do, and I think that's great, because without the message, what's the point?
Yeah. Well, let's play a song by one of the bands, Grave Robber.
Cool.
It's going to be at the show because we're going to expect them to call about 15 minutes.
Nice.
From Wretched,
Sweet.
the band. So let's play one of their songs first. This is off the Inner Sanctum album, and I'm going to play Fear No Evil. Check this one out right here. AM600 WSNL. Cool. That sounds like Fear No Evil.